Mark Zuckerberg hath spoken under his eye. Mark Zuckerberg is, the head of Facebook and founder. And in the wake of all of this Cambridge Analytica, it wasn't exactly a data breach, it wasn't exactly a data hack, what actually happened. In the wake of it, it took 5 days before Mark Zuckerberg made a statement. People were calling for it, Amy Klobuchar and others, according to this graphic news. Senator John Kennedy and I just sent a bipartisan letter to Chuck Grassley asking for a judiciary hearing with social media CEOs, including Zuckerberg. This isn't the first time we've made this request, but now 50 million people who had their records stolen should add to our numbers. John Kennedy himself said the behavior from Facebook lately has been kind of getting into the foothills of creepy. He also wanted to know if we've been, Facebook is enabling us to live in some kind of weird Truman Show environment where they create our own reality for us. The UK has launched formal inquiries into this kind of data issue. The UK Information Commissioner Elizabeth Denham said she is producing a warrant to search Cambridge Analytica's servers after the firm missed a deadline to voluntarily cooperate. Even people who have been themselves absorbed into Facebook have been absorbed into weighing in on this. Brian Acton, the co-founder of WhatsApp, which was bought by Facebook for $19 billion in 2014, posted to Twitter, "It's time to delete Facebook." We are going to skip forward to graphic, I think it's 66, because Mark Zuckerberg, after 5 days and his company losing $50 billion in market capitalization, finally made his statement. He said, "We have a responsibility to protect your data, and if we can't, then we don't deserve to serve you. I've been working to understand exactly what happened and how to make sure this doesn't happen again. I started Facebook, and at the end of the day, I'm responsible for what happens on our platform. We will learn from this experience to secure our platform further and make our community safer for everyone going forward."
All right, couple of small points and then really the heart of the issue. First of all, I don't know, like it's not my business, but the Brian Acton speaking out against Facebook after he sold his app to them for $19 billion. I don't know, man. I'd have kept that one internal.
He no longer works for Facebook.
I know he doesn't, and I know he gets to say it, and I know that once they sell, they always leave the building as soon as they possibly can. And I know you already got your billions of dollars. He doesn't get the whole 19 billion. There's investors and stuff, but I'm sure he got plenty of money. Be cool,
yeah,
okay.
Right.
And maybe that's wrong. Maybe that he's principled for speaking out. It's a small point. Okay, and number two, I don't care about the timing issue. He took 5 days and posted an investigative story about how he liked some pretty pictures on Facebook.
Yeah.
So he must have been hiding in a cave. Look, man, they lost $50 billion in market cap. Zuckerberg himself lost $9 billion in his net worth. Now, it doesn't really matter. He still got 66 billion, but losing $9 billion, it's a bad week. It's a bad week for anyone.
How would you respond? Like, first of all, I don't even know how to wrap my mind around having the remaining dollars that he has, but I don't even know how you could function after losing $9 billion.
No, but again, if you started with 75 billion, it probably doesn't matter at all. Look, I've done the math on it. First of all, 40 million is an outrageous, monstrous number, okay? But I'm positive that anything beyond 40 million is really unnecessary.
Yeah.
Okay, so when you get to $1 billion, which is 960 million above 40 million, let alone 75 million. Anyway, so don't shed too many tears for him. But my point is that they're gonna take a little while to figure out what the right way to respond is. They've got investors suing them, they got users suing them, they're reeling right now, they've got everybody attacking them. They're gonna huddle with lawyers, they're gonna huddle with PR people. They're not gonna just go out there and give an earnest statement like, "Oh man, I saw what happened, and golly, gee, that sucks," right?
Also, if he was just like, "Oh God, I didn't know, I gotta get everything together,"
Yeah, this is a gigantic business with a ton of financial interests. They're gonna take their time to figure out what is the best strategy. So, and now, on the flip side to that, is that when they come out with statements of being incredibly contrite and we are taking personal responsibility, etc. Mark Zuckerberg didn't go in there and go, "Hold on, let me type this thing out," right? Mm-hmm. It's PR people, and that was looked at 1,000 times over by 100 PR people. And that's okay, he runs a giant company, but understand where that's coming from. So it's not like he's like, "Oh man, No, personal responsibility, it's mine. I gotta own up to it, my bad, right? Yeah. No, that's what you're supposed to say to put people at ease and yada, yada. I'm just keeping it real with you guys as to what's going on.
Yeah, I just don't know I've seen a lot of Mark Zuckerberg apologies, because there are so many changes that they introduce to Facebook and there are so many decisions that they make. I remember when they invented the feed. The feed, which is basically so far in the rearview mirror of Facebook, but it was the idea that instead of just going to your Facebook page and then going to someone else's Facebook page, they would take all the data that you're already sharing, compile it and put it in the Facebook feed. And that's what you scroll through. And when that happened back in 2006, Zuckerberg had to write an apology saying, wow, we really messed this one up. And I don't remember the exact words, but that was the beginning. And then he made that statement recently where he had to go and he's sitting there looking straight into camera in his work uniform, and behind him is like people going around the office. It's just so strange, and I don't know how accountable to hold these social media companies, and I don't know how accountable they're holding these other folks. Because when you look at Cambridge Analytica, they did access this data inappropriately by acquiring it from someone who wasn't supposed to sell it to them. But I don't know to what extent Facebook can turn around and say, you know what, we are gonna levy an appropriate punishment to people who did these inappropriate things.
So look, we are partners with Facebook. There's not a lot of money at stake there. I'm just telling you to be over the top, careful, and give you any kind of conflict of interest we might have. Now, having said that, I am going to be both more generous to Facebook than others are being, and I'm going to explain why, and more harsh to Facebook than you hear anywhere else. So let me explain what I think is the reality here. So were they, as some writer put it, aggressively disinterested? And I think that was the same HuffPost writer that I criticized a second ago. Were they aggressively disinterested in how their data was being mined? Probably. And the reason for that is they were making money. They're selling ads. So this Cambridge Analytica was supposed to only had like a couple 100,000 people download the app, but somehow they got the information of 50 million users. So some are saying Facebook looked the other way to make more money. Now they'll have to investigate that. That is not proven. We'll see how that plays out. But is that a real issue? Yes, that's definitely a real issue, and one that they got to get on top of, and they can't let their greed get away from them. Now, on the other hand, it's important that you guys know some of the ulterior motives going on here. So the rest of the press is loving this because they despise Facebook. Now, why do they despise Facebook? Not having anything to do with Cambridge Analytica or the elections. It's because Facebook was unreal jerks to them. Okay, so how? They're like, come here, do instant articles. Put all your articles on Facebook and we'll reward you, and we'll put all your videos on Facebook and we'll reward you, and on and on and on. Everybody come to Facebook, we've got a wonderful little trap for you. Because one wonderful thing that's gonna give you more viewers. And everybody got hooked on Facebook, and then they changed the rules. And they did it over and over again. And it destroyed a lot of companies. It hurt a lot of those media companies tremendously. So they've been looking for payback for a long time. So the minute Facebook's in any kind of trouble, they got no allies left. And everybody jumps in for the kill. Facebook, Cambridge Analytica. So there's definitely schadenfreude here as they try to pounce and do the hashtag delete Facebook and push that on and on. I've got more, but yeah.
Yeah, I was just, my gut reaction to the Facebook stuff, because I know people who work there, and I don't think that anyone over there is like evil. I think it's very much like, hey, we're a tech company. We have all this information. What can we do with it? Well, I think more than what we can do with it, we can see what you guys can do with it. And that's how it's presented in those big original Facebook platform meetings. And they did that. And then, as much as they thought they knew what would come of it, that same entrepreneurial spirit that they were depending on to grow their product turned into this. People taking that spirit too far and making it turn into like an evil demon spirit that mines psychographic information by starting out asking you like little quiz questions.
And so it's a lesson not just for Facebook, but for all the other companies out there, digital or otherwise, there should be some cap on your greed, because once you've alienated everyone on the planet and anyone who might work with you, well, then when you need them, you're not gonna have any friends. And so ironically, their feed is pretty barren here because everybody unfriended them for how they treated everyone else in the business. Now, another really important part though, another part that's illegitimate is that they also have those other media outlets, now that they realize they're not making any money off of Facebook and it was a trap in the first place and they got nothing out of it. Now they're viewing Facebook as a competitor. So, and the TV guys hate all the online guys. So they view Facebook as a giant competitor that's sucking away audience. The content producers don't like Facebook because they get paid almost nothing, whereas on TV they get gazillions of dollars.
Yeah.
So now all the TV guys are like, Facebook is not legitimate. They're not legitimate, right? You must, and what did it, by the way, what do they demand then? They say, don't do any independent media. From now on, if you want to be legitimate, the only people that you can favor are CNN, NBC, ABC, CBS, etc., New York Times, Washington Post, all the old media. If you do anything else, Facebook, you're part of the problem, and Russia and Analytica and this and that. And why do the politicians care? Well, they love, the incumbents love the system where they have all the money and can use TV to win every election. This digital media allows upstarts to beat them. They hate that. They're like, let's go back to the way that it was. Yeah. So that is part of the attacks against Facebook, and understand that that's the context nobody else tells you. If you want to get the whole Young Turks show every single day, become a member, tytnetwork.com/join. And once you do, you'll be saying,
you know, I'm like a smart person.
Or you might say,
I think it's weird.
Or you might say,
oops.
No, that won't be that one. It won't be that one. It'll be great, trust me. tytnetwork.com/join.